the Chicago Bears signed Andy Dalton after flirting with the idea of getting Russell Wilson, after flirting with the idea of getting Deshaun Watson. They have found their quarterback for next season. Andy Dalton signs from the Cowboys to the Bears on a 1-year deal, $10 million up to $13 million with incentives. They're saying he most likely will be their starter, but they're still in the market to hopefully attract Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson. The Texans or the Seahawks. Hopefully they work out a deal with them. But for the meantime, it does look like Andy Dalton will be the starter for the 2021 season for the Chicago Bears. And I'm going to just have to say that the Chicago Bears have the worst history of QBs ever. Recent history too, their best quarterback ever was probably Jay Cutler. And I don't know if you guys have seen Jay Cutler. Some of you might be too young. But he was a pretty good quarterback. He wasn't terrible, but he had some terrible moments with the Bears. He was scrutinized a lot. Didn't sat out on some playoff games. Threw a bunch of interceptions. I remember he got destroyed by the Packers on Sunday Night Football in a massacre. It was just embarrassing. A lot of the media outlets went off on him, including Stephen A. Smith. So for him to be your best quarterback of all time, or at least in recent history, it just goes to show how bad their quarterbacks have been. And even with Ryan Pace taking over as their GM, he has not made the best of transactions. He traded up for Mitch Trubisky. He gave up a lot to move up to, and he turned out to be the worst quarterback, or the first of the first-round quarterbacks, passing on Sean Watson, passing on Patrick Mahomes. He chose Mitch Trubisky. Then he traded a fourth for Nick Foles, and Nick Foles turned out to be a bad experiment. It did not work at all last season. And he also signed, what's his name? He signed a quarterback from the Buccaneers. I'm forgetting his name right now, for $18 million for 1 year. So just a bad amount of signings for quarterbacks. The Bears are just known for being bad at scouting quarterbacks, at picking talent. Oh, Mike Glennon. That was a quarterback that he signed. Mike Glennon for $18 million for 1 year for Mike Glennon. Traded up for Trubisky, and he traded a fourth for Nick Foles. Now he signs Andy Dalton. None of these names really inspire confidence in the team, in the fan base. And since the Super Bowl era, the Bears have been the worst at almost every major quarterback statistical category. They are last in pass yards per game. They are last in pass yards per attempt. They're last in pass touchdowns per game. They're last in touchdown to interception ratio. And they are also last in quarterback passer rating. So that's not a good thing. This is a trend that the Bears can't seem to get out of. They've had some great defenses. Even right now, they have a great defense. They've had some great defenses in the past with Brian Urlacher, Briggs. They just had a lot of great defenses, and now they have another one, and it just seems like their defenses just keep getting wasted and wasted and wasted because the offense can't get it together. The quarterbacks can't get it together. They just can't get a good field general, and it seems like this is more of the same. Andy Dalton by no means is a terrible quarterback, but he is also by no means a top 10 quarterback, a franchise quarterback, a quarterback that's going to take you to the promised land. He's serviceable. He's an elite backup. He's a good starter, but he's not gonna flip. He's not gonna turn the needle. He's not gonna make you from a mediocre team to a contender. He's just solid. I don't mean to bash on Andy Dalton. I've actually really enjoyed his career. I liked what he did with the Bengals. I think he did a solid job last year with the Cowboys, with everything that was going on. And now he gets another 1 year deal. He gets to prove himself with the Bears. I don't think there's too much pressure on him, especially when people wanted Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson. And for the Bears, that was always a pipe dream, especially with their long history of mediocre play from the quarterback position. It just seems like that was such a pipe dream. Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson. I think Chicago fans do deserve it. They're one of the best fans. The Windy City, playing in Soldier Field, would have been fun to see any of these great quarterbacks play there. Call that stadium their home. But unfortunately for the Bears, for that Bears fan base, it is more of the same. the more things change, the more they stay the same, and it just seems like more mediocre play from the quarterback position. So I'm sorry, Bear fans. I know you guys were hoping for Russell Wilson. I know you guys were hoping for Deshaun Watson. But as of right now, Wednesday, March 17th, 2021, it is Andy Dalton.